pretty common chain of events. I read the script, and you know, as Mark said, I was looking for a feature film to direct, and this film felt, you know, it felt like it was sort of the right size and the right scope of a film to tackle as your first feature film. You know, as Mark said, I have been directing television, you know, long form and short form television for the last 21 years, but moving into the feature film realm, I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. So I was looking for a film of sort of this kind of size, and this film felt right. You know, it was very, very character driven, which obviously is, dealing with character driven material is something I'm very familiar with. But also, I don't know, it just, you know, obviously, the locations and the landscape and, you know, everything that was going on felt like a lot of it was very familiar to me. Obviously, road movies offer their own slate of challenges, but I think that I came up with some very creative ways around a lot of those challenges. And so anyway, I got on the phone with Mark, and Mark and I talked about it quite extensively, and came to a meeting in the minds on a lot of those things, and decided to move forward.
Mr. Dreyfuss, how, I guess I know the answer to this, but how rare is it to get a script these days that has that warmth and humanity, and it's about people and friendship and romance and love, and not about aliens and special effects and graphic novels? Never.
It was unique. And I hadn't read a script like that in years. And I guess I called my agent called you, I don't remember now. But we had a 2-hour conversation on the phone, and it was a done deal. And it was everything I wanted to do. You know, it was gentle and fragile and bittersweet, and there was a depth to it that was not apparent. And it was surprisingly uncompromising. And so I did.
But I think it's important to recognize the fact that, you know, so much of the things that happen in this movie happen because people actually talk to each other instead of sending each other texts or emails or any of those things. Mark and I actually got on the phone and talked for a long time. Richard and I and Richard and I got on the phone. Richard and I and Mark got on the phone. Like, people actually have to communicate. I think that so much today. So many times people just don't communicate anymore. Everything is done by text and email and all those things. But this movie never would have got made unless all of us took the time out of our days to actually get on the phone and talk the way that we used to. And I feel like today in society, so much of the time, we don't take the time to do that. And that's one of the things that made this movie actually happen.
Were you cast first, or was Tatiana?
Tatiana was cast first, and then Jason and I shared the same agency, and he called the agency and said, "Do you have anything that would fit this thing?" And a couple of days later, they called and said, "What about Richard Dreyfuss?" And he said, "Yeah." And
of course.
And I felt the same way because Jason had this kind of calm, confident, you know, no bullshit. And what I always ask for from a director is a relaxed and creative atmosphere. And you could tell that he had that. And so I did it. I thought it was a unique script. I thought that it might not be seen by anybody, or it might be seen by everybody. And I didn't care, because I wanted to play that guy. And And then I worked with Tatiana, who is a remarkable actress. And you could see, I said this today, you could see her future. You know, you look at her and you realize, God, she's going to be great.
And such amazing chemistry between the two of you in the film as well. There is a real spark there that comes from a meeting of minds, maybe, or a meeting of people who approach work in the same way, or...
I think it's just that I liked her and she liked me, and let's go.
Well, it was also a meeting of two very talented people. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, two incredibly talented actors. And I was very fortunate as the director. You know, I knew that this film was going to live or die by those two, the characters and the relationship that they built. And I was also very fortunate that Mark, the producer, understood that as well. So I got the two of them on location a week ahead of time, and we had a week of very intensive rehearsals. Me and Tatiana and Richard in a hotel room, working on the script and working the material and working the scenes. And if scenes weren't working, we would improvise new scenes and bring the writer in to watch those improvisations and rewrite new scenes. And so we were able to keep the script very fluid and keep working on the script and keep improving the script all the way through production, all the way up until the last day of filming. Actually, we were still one of the scenes that we shot on the last day of the movie was actually a scene that we totally rewrote that day, and a scene that was incredibly important in the film. And the rewrites that we did on that scene on the last day of production influenced the rest of the film, influenced the voiceover on both ends of the film. Like, it was an incredibly important, pivotal scene. So you know, it was one of those things where the rehearsal process that we did, and I was very fortunate to have a producer like Mark that would allow that, because nowadays in independent film, the one thing that seems to be getting thrown out first is rehearsal time. And you know, working in television for as long as I have, you never have time or money for rehearsals. And the thing that separates film from television has always been you have time to rehearse in movies, and to have that time and have that luxury of the time for rehearsal was so important for this film. And I'm just thankful to have had a producer and a team around me that would allow me to have that time.
Is there a way to specify what you thought changed through that process, or how it was enhanced, or was it the tone of the film, or was it the relationships, or how did...
Well, first of all, it allowed Richard and Tatiana to know each other and trust each other and learn how to work together, and what it was that was going to work between the two of them and create the chemistry that everyone was going to see on screen. It also allowed me as the director to build a trust between me and them, so that once we got on the floor, which we didn't have, we shot the movie in 21 days of principal photography, which is very quick. You know, we needed to have a shorthand and a trust between all of us, so we didn't waste a lot of time having to justify things. So we'd already rehearsed everything. We already worked out all the kinks before we got on the floor, which is very important. And I think that a lot of people, you know, a lot of producers and a lot of production companies forget about the fact that it's cheaper to do it ahead of time when you don't have 100 people standing around watching. It's much cheaper to do it when you're only paying 3 people and paying for a hotel and paying for a rehearsal space. It's much cheaper than when you're paying 100 people to stand around and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and watch 3 people, you know, argue about something. You know, it doesn't make much fiscal sense.
I just want to jump in there. So, I mean, a lot of that